Howdy everybody, this is another Bromance WarGaming Battle of Warhammer Fantasy here. And we've got a matchup we haven't had in a while. It's Dallas's Lizardmen versus Matt's Orcs and Goblins. Wog!
This shirt is not getting ripped. I had a different Wog shirt if I have to call it, but this one's not getting ripped.
Alright guys, and we're actually running a Blood and Glory we're coming up for a tournament between us and the Wolf Pack down in South Georgia. So we're testing out some lists and seeing what we're going to do. And one of the scenarios is going to be a Blood and Glory, where we get some extra victory points for who, if we break the other army first, we get more, and if we break them second, then we get more. But we keep fighting through the whole thing. So Matt, go ahead and go through your deployment, and I'll finish up with mine.
All right. I got 10 Savage Orc Big Gun Boar Boys with a standard and the Banner of Eternal Flame, which I realized after deploying them, I actually didn't need the Banner of Eternal Flame because we have like a single hell kit coming to the tournament. 7 Trolls, Doomdiver, Rock Lava, Mangler Squig, 5 Wolf Riders, Mangler Squig, Rock Lava, Doomdiver, 20 Goblins for comp's sake. We're doing the Swedish comp. And so they're actually less comp by like a little bit. A level 2 with the Hex Scroll that has Foot of Gork and Fist of Gork. Level 2 with the Dispel Scroll that has Brain Burster and Hand of Gork. 2 Pump Wagons that have Outriggers and Spiky Rollers, and they're lamenting the fact that they don't have any exploding spores right now. And then the Elephant in the deployment zone, we have 98 Night Goblin Archers with full command, 3 Fanatics, and nets, and we have my Black Orc War Boss, General, my Goblin BSB, Night Goblin Big Boss, Night Goblin Big Boss, Night Goblin Big Boss, all of those with great weapons, and my Goblin level 4. And the BSB has the Poison Banner, so the idea is to pew 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 pew.
A lot of poison shots, huh?
Indeed.
I have no idea what that's like being a Lizardman player.
Yes. And I have the level 4 spells has Gift of the Spider God, Gork will fix it, and I kept Night Shroud and I kept Curse of the Bad Moon. Night Shroud hopefully will help me weather some of his shooting that's going to be coming at this unit, and also screw with some things because it makes them take dangerous terrain. And then Curse of the Bad Moon, I figured if I ever need to, I can buff it up and throw a toughness test or take wounds through some Lizardmen, and I feel like that's going to probably be okay.
Excellent.
I said toughness, I meant initiative.
Initiative.
That one.
Yeah, that one saddens me.
Yeah.
Alright guys, we'll go through mine. On this side, got a Scarvet that's Sonic Cold One, has Great Weapon and the Armor of Destiny. Unit of Skink Skirmishers with Javelins and Shields. A unit of regular Skinks, never mind the weapons and the little shades from the Dark Elf army. Didn't quite have enough Skinks to fill it, but they have a Musician. Then we got my ever-present Charmander Salamander with extra handler. I've got 10 more Skink Skirmishers. Then a group of 20 regular Skinks, also with a Musician. Another Salamander extra handler. Some more Skinks, 10 of them with a Musician. 10 more Skink Skirmishers. Then we go back behind it for a group of 36 Saurus Warriors with full command, a Ancient Steg, Stegodon. Next to it is my level 2 Skink Priest on an Ancient Steg, Engine of the Gods, and his spells were Ice Shard, Blizzard, and Wind Blast. I decided on Wind Blast because I think it may come in handy. This might be the first time I ever thought it would. Then we got 36 more Saurus Warriors. Behind it, we have a level 1 Skink Priest who has the Forbidden Rod. I'm testing that out to see if I like it for kind of upping my magic phase, and he rolled a Comet. And then we got my Slan BSB. He has Rumination, Higher State of Consciousness, Cupped Hands, Divine Black of Protection, and I believe that is it off the top of my head. And he has fire, and his spells were Fireball, Flame Storm, Flaming Sword of Ruin, and the Flame Cage. I'm testing fire out for the lore to see how I like it for the tournament. The one thing I worry about with it is we have likely 2 Empire players coming, and with their heavy armor, I'm worried that I may not have a really good counter for that. But otherwise, I think it may come in handy. So here's my first testing on it, especially with this high point range. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and I guess we can go ahead and roll while I've got this out and see who goes first.
I went ahead and vanguarded.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, my guys, just
Okay.
before we roll.
Alright, and I got the +1, so we'll go for it. And as you can tell, he won the first rolling. So
Good luck, sir.
good luck. And we will pick up turn. Alright, Matt, it's your first turn, so just go ahead and let everyone know what's going on.
Alright, I didn't leave enough room in movement. I had to charge, but I wanted to charge anyway. So I charged his chameleon skinks with my savage orcs, and they fled. I charged his second unit of chameleon skinks, and I needed an 8. He stood and shot, and I ward saved 1 for my tattoos, and I got in. Everybody else kind of moved up, as you see. I felt animosity over here. Trolls didn't leave enough space for this unit to move up, but that's okay. You can see kind of where my compulsory moves went around. I didn't measure my wolves. They're like 18.25 inches away from the Scarvet. Not that I was going to kill him, but I was going to shoot him anyway, just to mess with him. In the magic phase, I got 12 dice. I got Night Shroud on this unit and stole a dice from it. I got Gork'll Fix-It on his unit of skirmishers over there and didn't steal a dice. I threw 2 dice at Hand of Gork on this unit, and it cast, but he dispelled it. And then I threw 6 dice at Foot, starting on his Scarvet, and he dispel scrolled it. Shooting, my Doom Divers were wildly inaccurate. My Rock Lobbers were stupid accurate, and both of them direct hit. The first one killed the handler of that missing salamander. The next one direct hitted, randomized onto the salamander, did 3 wounds, and it also clipped this guy, and I rolled a 1 to wound both times.
That's right.
So that guy's invincible. His name is Boris, if you catch the reference, thumbs up. And in combat, I beat them handily, overran into the next unit. That unit actually broke, which is groovy, so I'm all up in everybody's business right now. Things are looking good. Gonna try to weather the storm of Lizardmen magic here and see what happens.
Okay, we'll pick up with my turn 1 in just a second. Alright everybody, it was the end of my turn 1. I was rather happy after losing turn 1 that the shooting did not go worse, because I was definitely worried about the Doom Divers and Rock Lobbers doing a lot more than they ended up doing. So, yay for me. During my turn, those guys rallied. My chameleon skinks ran off the board. As you can tell, I moved most people up a little bit. During magic, I did a firestorm on the big unit, hoping to hit as many models as possible. It veered off in a bad direction and it hit like 5 of them, and I think we killed 3. Then I did a fireball at that unit with the remaining dice, and I got enough to do it, the big 3d6 dice, but he dispelled it with his dice because he had 6, I think. Shooting wise, the only really shooting I had was the salamander against them, which I had only barely clipped them and killed 1 more, and of course he made his leadership so they did not run. I would have been very thrilled if that would have happened. Other than that, it's just very, moving everything up into position. My Engine of the Gods did the 5-up ward bubble for everybody, so that was kind of what I was hoping to get for my first turn. Who knows, maybe my salamander would still be living. But, them's the breaks. So we'll pick up in turn 2. Alrighty folks, we got the beginning of turn 2. Go ahead and tell them your ruffle stomping that you've been doing.
Man, this has been the stupidest game in a long time. Not because one person has ridiculous luck, but because the luck has been universally pretty poor. And so far I'm coming out on top from that universally poor luck. I charged, well, I guess my Savage Riders had overrun into the Saurus last time. I needed an 8 over here, and I rolled an 11 to get into the skinks. So what are you going to do? I mean, who knew? It's not like Dallas could have planned any better for that. I moved everything up, didn't have any animosity problems. Didn't move these guys, which turned out to be clutch. I was trying. You may notice that this part of the board is kind of empty, and we'll get to that in a minute. My compulsory move people didn't hit anything. I'm trying to block this guy here. Excuse me. And that's not probably going to go very well for me, but that's all right. I have plans, and plans within plans, and contingency plans, and all that other jazz. In Magic, I got like 10 dice. I threw Gorkle Fix It on one of the units that's running away. I think it's the guy with one guy left. He's been Gorkle Fixed It. I threw Night Shroud on this unit. Then I threw the rest of my dice at Curse of the Bad Moon. I irresistibled it, which is funny because I think if I hadn't rolled the second 6, I would have failed to cast it because I rolled like 2 2s and a 1 and double 6s. It's pretty bad. So that's what the big golden thing is. I picked Toughness. I went over the Mangler, did another wound. He's taken 1 from Dangerous Terrain, 1 from that. So I'm hoping he can avoid taking a Dangerous Terrain test this next turn when I need him to do something awesome. I killed, like 9 out of the 10 skinks in that unit, and the salamander didn't do anything.
It's right there.
And it ended up where you can see it. I lost 3 levels, so now the only spell I know I have is Gorkle Fix It, so I have a level 1 and 2 level 2s. Then in shooting, I thought it was really ridiculous in every sense of the word. This unit fired 60 shots into the salamander. I got 3 poisons. I needed 6s to hit. 3 out of 60. So I was kind of upset. They all randomized onto the salamander, and Dallas was like, "Oh, I got 5 up armor save," and I was like, "Crap, I forgot the armor save." He didn't roll anything over a 3. So the salamander somehow got picked off by 3 good-looking night goblins. I don't even know what's happening anymore. That panicked the unit of skinks over here, who fled from the closest unit through the vortex, and I killed all 8 of them that touched that vortex. So who even knows anymore? And then in combat, of course, the trolls beat up some skinks. Amazingly, the skinks did 2 wounds, which I thought was really interesting because they hit very few times and then wounded pretty well, and then I failed both my regens. But so I'm into the Saurus, and hopefully that goes all right. And the combat that I thought was just pretty much a foregone conclusion, the Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins into the Saurus. I killed like 9. He made poor saves. He killed like 6. He did really well killing me back. We added it up, and I had 1 by 1 for the charge. And he rolled, and he got a 9. And I said, "Are you sure you're within 12?" I was just trying to be like, And he, of course, wasn't. He was barely out, and I felt really terrible about that. So I ran him down because his BSB and General were out. Or I didn't run him down, excuse me. He ran off the board, but same difference. I got out of the charge arc of the stuff. The skinks panicked again, so I don't even know what's happening anymore. So it looks like if I can weather some magic phases and a Scarvet, I'll be doing all right. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm thinking I'm going to be all right, but it's going to be tough to live through some magic phases.
All right, well, I'll pick up with my turn 2 and see if I can come up with something. All right, everybody, it was my turn 2. Basically, what happened was the only charge I really made was to charge the Scarvet into his Wolf Riders. As you can tell, I beat them, but they overran that way, and my overrun ran me into the Pump Wagon, so I'm there. That was my only charge. Magic, just to let you know, a lot of things ran. They were the only units here that stayed around. They kept running. My other skink skirmishers ran off the table because they're cowards. That other one ran over here because he needed snakes. So yeah, it's pretty pathetic rolling on leadership for me today. During Magic, I used the Forbidden Rod, trying to get a lot of dice and throw a lot of spells out, and it didn't turn out super well for me. But we'll go through. First thing I did is I did Flame Cage on that trolls, trying to hold them up and do some extra wounds to them. I didn't. I think I did one or
You did 3 wounds.
Did 3 wounds, so I killed off a troll. The next thing I did was a fireball against that same unit. I rolled 5 dice, I think, 4 plus the actually it was 4 plus the kindling attribute, and I got an 11 on a fireball, and he dispelled it. The last thing I did was throw 4 plus my rumination dice at a flaming sword out of my swords to try to take out the trolls, and he dispelled it. So
I scrolled it technically.
Yes, you scrolled it. So pretty bad rolling on my part, and pretty bad magic face didn't turn out super well. During shooting, I shot out the Mangler Squig, so that got him out of the way.
No.
Combat, of course, like I said, I destroyed the Wolf Riders while they ran, and then I overran there. And here, he did like 10 wounds or so. I did 1, I think.
1, yeah.
1 because stupid regeneration, which...
Well, you also wounded like 4 times.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I rolled really well to hit, just
Yeah.
no wounds. It was pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
So he reformed there. I was stubborn, so we're stuck. Hoping that the trolls stay at bay. I'm just trying to hold everything off. Everything's pretty far away, so that's a good thing on my part. And with that, we will be moving on to turn 3 and see what sort of evils can be concocted against me this turn. All right, Matt, it's your turn 3.
Yep.
It's kind of slowing down a little bit. Tell them what's going on.
Well, didn't move the trolls. Luckily, they passed stupidity. I moved these guys up, just wheeled them 4 inches because I was anticipating Hand of Gorking them, and I didn't know the rule, but I didn't want to chance it. That if I march with them, even if I Hand of Gork them, then they can't shoot, which I assume is true. So I didn't want to march them. And then I realized afterwards that I had to move these guys, Hand of Gork these guys, so I should have just marched these guys the crap on up. But I didn't because I fail at life, apparently. These guys moved sideways, weren't going to get out of his range. I forgot that it was my turn, and so he was going to reform after that combat. So this is going to be sad. I got my pump wagon into his skinks over there. I blew the crap up with them, and then I landed in that pit, which was initiative this turn, and it scattered that way instead of towards the Salon and the Saurus like I wanted. And that's okay, so I ended up in that and did a wound to myself. In combat, he barely got me with my crumble from unstable. He only did a single wound, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s, and he missed once and failed to wound twice. So, but he crumbled me and reformed. In combat with the trolls only did 4 wounds with regular attacks, and I thought, oh, this is going to be it. And then Dallas rolled like 12 hits again out of 19 attacks, and I was like, oh, this is going to suck. I'm going to have to make a lot of regen saves. 2 wounds. I saved 1, and so I won combat again, and he stuck, but I'm grinding them Saurus down. Also, let me say, in shooting, this rock lava fired and hit the Engine of the Gods, and direct hit it. He randomized onto the stag for the heavy hit. He failed the ward save. I did 5 wounds. It died. This one, direct hit the second ward save. The second guy randomized onto the stag, 1 wound. But I'll take the one I got. The only thing that bothers me is I was a little foolish and shot my 5 Wolf Riders first because I didn't think they'd do anything. And as you can see, now they have a decent... I could have put 5 shots, that wounding, hitting on 5s and wounding on 3s into that guy with only a 4-up lookout sir. My Doom Diver scattered onto him, and he made all 4 of his 4-up lookout sirs, which helped take down some of those Saurus. My board boys turned around, but only because Dallas let me. I actually had forgotten him. We were in like the shooting phase. And I said, crap, I forgot to move him. He said, go ahead. And I said, nah. And Dallas was like, no, I'm a good guy. And I'm going to let you turn him around. So there they are. And this is what it looks like. It's looking pretty grim for Dallas, actually.
Actually, yes.
It's looking pretty bad. According to the extra rules, I'm going to get 1,000 VPs if I can kill that Source block, because then he'll be broken. His fortitude will be 3. And so regardless of all the other stuff I kill, I'll get 1,000 extra VPs. So it's looking kind of grim. So we'll see what Dallas can do. See if he can't pull this off.
We shall see. Alright guys, coming up on my turn 3. Okay folks, it was my turn 3. Not sure. Let me see here. We've had the stake charging into his wolf riders, which fled because of terror, and I redirected into the trolls. The other charge was the Scarvet into his groups of goblins. Beyond that, we had some rallying, which was that unit actually rallied. The others did not and are fleeing off the board, probably more than likely next turn. Those guys kind of turned around. I couldn't quite get the right angle for them. Probably should have, instead of thinking about marching, probably should have done a reform and move, but oh well. Magic was attempting to, let's see here, attempting to get a Flaming Sword of Ruin on my Saurus. He dispelled it.
So, yes, let me say, you rolled a 24 on 4 dice. You rolled 24 with the 4 plus your level, and I just threw all 4 of my dice at it and miraculously got double 6s.
Yep. Then next up was attempting a Ice Shard Blizzard on the trolls, thinking that would help. -1 to hit, then also the -1 leadership to make sure that they ran, hoping to win. That cast, you let it go. Then my last dice, I threw Fireball at the Mangler Squig, thinking to get it out. He used his Hex Scroll. I succeeded and didn't turn more frogalicious than I already am. And I did 1 mighty wound to it on my D6. So, that was the way most of my turn went this time. Let's see here. Combat-wise, over here,
More of the same, right?
Yep. He, with that -1, he decided to use the Vomit and got 1 wound through, 3 wounds.
Oh yeah, 1 wound from the vomit.
Yeah, 1 wound from the Vomit. I thought that was my chance to really hit home, and I think I did 1 wound back. Hit a whole bunch, but still cannot roll 4s on any of my dice on that one. So his stomps, he got a couple more through. I was still barely steadfast, so I'm hanging around. The other combat over here, I sent 2 attacks at the wizard, 2 at the unit. I did hit both times on the wizard, but only wounded once. And then on the actual goblins, I through the other 2 attacks, I rolled a 1, so I only got 1 wound through, or 1 hit through, and then didn't wound. So kind of stunk that up, but hanging around because of the leadership. Over here, I believe I did 2 wounds. Yeah, I did 2 wounds, and you did 2 wounds, but I won because of the charge, and you were, steadfast on.
Because I got a rank.
So that was that. So that's just hanging around there. Probably going to die from the trolls next turn. So yeah, that was my turn.
Actually, I'm not sure what you're going to do, Dallas. I think I got you 11 ways from Sunday, except for your Slan, that I have like 1 person with a magic weapon that can kill it in this army.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bleak. Pretty freaking bleak. So hey, we'll pick up at turn 4. All right. So after 4, you see him. Oh, and that one little guy. Hey, he's also alive.
Oh, I forgot that he was still alive.
That's it. That is all that's left. We're going to go ahead and call it because there's not really much I can do to possibly get close to doing much of anything to get my points back. So yeah, we're going to call it. Matt, go ahead and tell what happened on your turn, and then we'll have some closing thoughts.
Okay, I didn't have any animosity issues. I rallied the wolf riders over here, which was great because as their fast cav, I got to moved him up within like 3 inches of his guy from the Ancient with the Eye of the Gods, so I could shoot him and get a bunch of points. The Savage Orcs charged his one guy over there that's still alive. He decided to flee. I only had a 7 leadership to redirect into the Saurus, and so it was kind of a 50-50 chance. And if I had failed, I wouldn't have been able to hit the Saurus, and it would have been grind fest still with the trolls. But of course, I made my leadership 7 test. I barreled on into the flank of the Saurus, and that pretty much spelled the end of that. My pump wagon got into the skinks that were over here, and I threw my mangler through this unit that was in combat with the Scarvet, and did 2d6 hits to him. Of course, I rolled a 12 for the hits on him, and I wounded 9 times, and Dallas failed. Just barely, I got through. He had a 5-up armor and a 4-up ward after the modifiers, and he only failed 2 saves, but it was enough. Took off the back rank of my guys, but it doesn't matter. These guys just kind of moved forward. The trolls stuck in place. So after combat, the pump wagon broke and ran down the guys. The trolls and Savage Orc Boarboy Biggins broke and ran down the last. The champion was left or something like that. The trolls actually pursued into a fleeing unit after that, so they got to reform to face the Slann for whatever reason. Of course, I shot off his guy with my bow shots and then didn't shoot any war machines because I didn't want to. The trolls in combat did exactly 2 wounds to the stag and finished it off. So we're left with his Slann and a guy that's going to rally on double ones again against the might of my army. And really, while that doesn't seem ridiculous, about the only thing I have this guy with Fists of Gork and Foot to damage him, and I have my Black Orc with the Ogre Blade. Other than that, I don't have a way to hurt him. But I would just actually probably beat him through combat res, flank charge, rear charge, wogging, because he doesn't have the crown, because we're doing Swedish comp, so he can't. That'd be probably really ridiculously comped. So anyway, that's the game. Dallas, good game, sir.
Yes. I may need a hug after this.
It's fine. I guess I'll go ahead and do closing thoughts. Obviously, my list is a 9.9 on the Swedish comp, so I 20-0'd him plus the 9, so I got a 29.9. But really, while I think that some of it was tactical, some of it was, obviously I had to choose which spells to let through. The ones to shut down the trolls, I had to just deal with the fact that those trolls weren't going to do anything for a turn. Some of it was, like I said, some of it was tactical. Most of it was really just bad rolling on Dallas's part. The trolls grinding away a unit of Saurus for like 2 casualties is ridiculous. The Boar Boys routing a unit that had a cold-blooded 8 was pretty ridiculous. Just the killing the Engine of the Gods on 1 hit. The shooting was really good. Clearing the chaff actually was really mandatory, and I liked that about this unit. But other than that, this unit didn't do anything. But again, on Blood and Glory, this has enough fortitude where if you don't kill it, I'm going to stay alive. And so I knew Dallas had to kill this unit, and so it was really just kind of funneling him towards it. But I felt really good about having enough shooting to take care of Lizardmen chaff, because that's always something that annoys me. The pump wagons performed well. The manglers performed well. They absorbed a bunch of hits that normally would have been going into the big bunker of Doomy Doom. The trolls were amazing, both units of them. It's not necessarily something I'm excited about running 2 units of 7, but it worked out okay this time, so I just have to stay on my game. Savage Orc Boarboy Biggins don't need the Banner of Eternal Flame. They did amazing, though. I mean, obviously, they got lucky. Dallas failed an 8 steadfast. But they did well, and they're sub 300 points, so I feel like they're a good combat block that's fast, and I don't mind if they get frenzy baited all over the place. The fast cab did fine. Obviously, those guys did great cleaning up those points of the Engine of the Gods. So overall, I actually think I liked the list. The Rock Lobbers were definitely some of my MVPs, but probably really my MVPs were going to be the Savage Orcs, I think. Just the luck I had with them was pretty great. My magic phases did well. I don't know. I like the list. We'll see. I'm gonna. I have some different lists that I'm gonna look at. This one, I'm not sure how it would have worked if he would have actually got in combat with it. So I don't know. I'll have to do some more tests.
Okay. All right. On my side, it was definitely some bad rolling on my part. Some unclutch rolling, I guess, is a good way to put it when I needed it. I think that combat versus the trolls should have went in my favor. I should have gotten a flaming sword at some point off on it to help.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. Other than that, what really did it, and I saw early on, with all the skink chaff, I need to be better at setting up the charges I want, setting up the distances that statistically means more of a failure for him, and I didn't do that well, and a lot of that was because the boar boys right at the very beginning getting into the chameleon skinks, I took a chance on it and it backfired. I was thinking I was going to get the first turn because of the +1, and it didn't happen. So I probably, having to do it over again, would have had them further out so that the charge would have been more, and try to bait them into into bad positions. So that's something I have to do on my part. Other than that, it was tricky. I think I'm still okay with the fire spells. I think that'll work. That'll get better in my favor as I get a little bit better off on them. I think it could have worked well against the trolls. Although the problem I kind of saw is that he has, like with that big old block over there, I have to take it out to break him, and it's going to be hard to break that without throwing everything at it and losing some, getting hit with some really nasty stuff on the sides. So we'll see. I still got hopes on the list. I'm going to keep trying it, get better at using the skinks to my advantage, and keep testing it out. So while I'm kind of saying it was some bad rolling, it was also some poor, especially early on, poor setting up of charges and such, and of course his boar boys wrecking my units pretty badly.
I'd like to point out that I forgot about the fanatics over here. Not that it would have mattered because I would have just thrown them in the forest, but I just looked at my board and realized I had fanatics in that unit. Ooh.
All right. So anyway, it was a pretty devastating loss to the Lizardmen. My Slon, who maybe they might have let go, no, they would have slaughtered him and had some frog legs for dinner. Anyway, that was it. We're gonna, I'm still gonna tinker with the list. I think it has some advantages. I kind of like the Engine of the Gods. I think the 5-up will come in handy, especially since I'm not using light and not having Faz go off. I think that's kind of the my other way of using it, and also I can throw it into some stuff and do some damage. So anyway, I'm rambling, but hey, this was a bitter defeat to my part and an excellent win to Matt. His list is definitely nasty. Lots of very ugly stuff that's coming my way. So I think he's going to do fine. I just got to keep working at it. So hey, This is again Matt and Dallas who's talking to you and you can't see. And it's Bromance WarGaming signing off for the evening. Take care.
Let me tell you something, brothers. I've heard that the wolf pack is coming up to Toccoa, Georgia, and they're gonna try and dethrone the Bromance WarGamers. Well, let me tell you that that's not gonna happen. The Lizardmen, they're gonna sweep them. They're gonna destroy them. They're gonna drop the elbow. They're gonna bring the pain. The ogres, with their big old guts, are gonna slam in and throw their little pans, their candy asses every which way. The High Elves, well, I don't even want to talk about the Banner of the World Dragon, but they is gonna do something bad. And the Orcs and Goblins is gonna go crazy on them. And I tell you what, brother, that's what you need to know. Wolfpack, you're coming on my turf, and you are going down.
That's ditto for me.